Hey guys, so this is the second episode of Deliberating Daisha. Okay, I'm on the right page. Sorry, I had to make sure I was on the right page. So, obviously, I'm not going to get any views the first time around, so from my knowledge, I've had no comments on last week's episode. Well, let me start by talking about some stuff about last week. I'm going to start with again, sorry that my turns on vibrated now that I'm thinking about it. So last week me and Ryan talked about Marvel a lot, mostly, and I wanted to bring up a couple of things from that. So from last week, talking about Marvel and the characters, I wanted to bring up a point about how I think audiences should have more of an open mind when it comes to characters in movies. Like, yes, I understand that we all grow up with these characters, but in some situations, you just have to be open-minded. Definitely with superheroes. So that's why, even though I'm a huge X-Men fan and I've grown up with it for so many years, I am fine with them possibly changing the characters because I would love to see what they do. Just because they might possibly change the race doesn't change the fact that the characters are still the same. They're just going to be a different color, which is fine, in my opinion. But if you guys want to disagree with me, I'm all for it. And that's why I have this podcast, is to have a open place for everyone to disagree. So that's definitely one thing I wanted to bring up. There's some stuff that get worse, but I mean, that's a little bit more difficult to get into because it was just more questions that I had, like just rewording questions, kind of. So we're going to start with our weekly book review, or book talk over It Gets Worse. So this week I read 3 more chapters. The first chapter I'm going to talk about is Chub Rub. And mostly this chapter is just about him discovering that he wants to be a film director. Doesn't need to go to school for that. And I relate a lot to this because I am in the media business or entertainment business. And a lot of people, when I was about to finish school, told me I don't really need it. School for me, I did learn a little bit from like what I want to do post-production, which is editing and all of that. I will say that the school taught me a little bit here and there about it, but not too much. I will say the most I gained from the school was learning about networking, and then the whole process of making a film, like from pre-production to production to post-production. I definitely learned way more than what I could have learned on my own or in the field. I'm going to clean my glasses really quick. And in my opinion, I probably would have been fine without going to school or anything. I could have just gotten a general education and been fine. But in my opinion, I think I benefited a little bit more since I want to be an editor or a colorist. I can understand wanting to be a film director or film writer or anything like that and not wanting to go to school, because that's stuff that school can't really teach you. They can teach you the basics, but they're not going to teach you. They will teach you how you could get your script bought or how to direct a film, but that doesn't mean people are going to hire you based on where you went to school. And, I mean, other than if you go to the big schools. But even then, you still have a reputation to uphold. People aren't going to keep hiring you if you keep messing up just because you went to a very fancy film school. And I think when Shane Dawson was going to school, like to be a film director, it was a lot different. Now, with the film business being so big that it is, with YouTube and everything, it's a little bit different. You can get your film out there in so many different ways, and I think going to film school really helped me realize like everything that's going on, and like how to network myself and how to sell myself. Because really, this entertainment business is you gotta sell yourself. That's all you have to do. Like, sell yourself and then show them that you can actually do the work. And I think that's a lot of people's mistake, is they think they just need to be able to do the creative part, but you need to be able to do both the creative and the social part. And yes, sometimes I do struggle on the social part, but I've worked on it over the years and still suck. So I got a couple more years to go. But it's true. It's just, you gotta keep, in this industry, you gotta keep, like, proving yourself no matter what stage you are. Otherwise, if you have a bad project or you fail at one thing, that's gonna hold. Like, that's, like, a lot of people's careers are ruined off of one mistake. One. And that one mistake could be your career. And in this industry, it's so hard to not make one mistake. So, and sometimes you get multiple mistakes, but it just depends on what the first mistake was. If the first mistake is a big mistake, don't know if you're going to be in this industry very long. But that's my general thing. So my question to you guys for this is, for Chub Rub, he realized that he didn't need to go to school in order to pursue his dreams. So in your life, what have you realized that you did not need in order to fulfill one dream? To fulfill a dream. And I will say, one thing I realized is I didn't need to go to a very, very fancy film school. I went to a very generic film school that was a trade school and for-profit school, but I benefited from it. I've gotten tons of work from it because of the people I met there, and a lot of those people still are, like, we're all slowly graduating, but a lot of my friends who didn't graduate from that school have gotten me work from other places. The second chapter I read this week was called Friends Without Benefit. This chapter didn't really resonate with me per se because I've never had a situation, okay, that's a lie. I've never had a situation that's gone this far with being in the friend zone. I've had situations, which I don't know if they're on YouTube at this point, where I misread something. And it happens a lot. And it's weird because you would think females getting friend zoned, that's not a thing. It is a thing. And I will say I've friend zoned a lot of people. But I don't think I friend zoned to the point of the person in this book did to Shane, which is, like, terrible. Being friend zoned is the worst, but being friend zoned for so long is even way worse. And I will say my experience with being friend zoned, I don't know. So I have some problems with, not with the term friend zone, but, like, with how people think you're being friend zoned. So I have a ton of guy friends, and a lot of them, yes, I would be attracted to. But of course, I'm a very weird person. I'm very, very weird. If you haven't figured it out, I'm a very weird person. So a lot of the guys don't see me as girls, or as a girl. They see me as one of the guys. And I know that's weird to think. It's weird to think that guys could see a girl as a guy, but it's true. And I'm still, like, all my high school guy friends, there's only been 2 guys in my high school guy group. Okay, maybe 3. 3 guys from my whole high school friends that have been like, oh, I like you, and or something has happened. And the rest of them, do I think they're cute and attractive? Of course. Do I think anything will come from it? No, because they don't see me they don't see me, I won't say as a girl, but they don't see me more as a friend, which I can relate to with Shane. I've never had the experience, okay, I have had the experience of being rejected, which happened my freshman year of high school. I had a situation where, I don't know if this is on camera, I don't think I was vlogging yet, but I had a situation where a guy who was my best friend in 8th grade. I don't know if we were best friends 7th grade. I think we were best friends 7th or 8th grade. One of those years we were best friends, and then we dated in 8th grade, and then we stopped talking because we couldn't be friends, and then one of my friends came over, and then we prank called him, and then we became friends again, and we were friends for a while. And then my freshman year, I would call him every day when I was walking home because I didn't have the guts to tell a guy that I didn't want to be friends with him, so I would call him to talk on the phone with him so it wouldn't bother me. And I know that's really mean, but back then I wasn't that mean of a person. I'm still not that mean as a person. I'm sometimes a little mean, but not to tell someone straight to their face, like, you're weird, like, I don't want to talk to you, like, I don't want to be friends with you, because that's mean. And he was a nice guy, and in my freshman year, I didn't want to be judged, and I had a very big problem with that my freshman year. Definitely since I was getting bullied. But, so I would call him, this guy who I dated in 8th grade, or we were boyfriend and girlfriend. I won't say dated, we never went on any dates, I don't think. And then all of a sudden, he stopped answering my calls, and I never got an explanation for it, ever. I still don't think I got an explanation for it, actually. And then sophomore year, I saw him again, we became friends, and then he moved away, and we ended up getting together, but then some stuff went down, and now we're not friends. And I thought about this on my card back the other day. There's been situations where I wish I could just be friends with him again, because he was a good friend. And I don't know, I've always thought about just friending him on Facebook and seeing what happens. And do I still have feelings for this person? A little bit. But obviously, fate has told me that it will never work out. But I need more friends. You always need more friends. Definitely me sometimes where I get super lonely and I have no one to talk to and no one to hang out with. Definitely the hanging out part. So maybe one day I will reach out. Maybe I'll do it today. We'll see. I'm just nervous about what doors they will open, which hopefully is none, because I'm very happy with Ryan. But obviously I'm happy with him, and he's made my life a whole bunch better. But I just need friends. Like, I have my friend Michael, and he's amazing, and I don't know what I would do at this point if we weren't friends. He's made me realize a lot about myself because he knows me so well. So my question to you guys for this chapter is, do you think, how hard is it to be friends with someone you had very, very strong feelings for? I've had this happen 2 times in my life, 3 times. The 2 hardest ones were definitely the story I just told you guys, and a more recent story, not recent, but before me and Ryan were dating, like way before we were dating, there's a guy who it just never worked out, and I'm happy for him. He's married now, but in the back of my mind, it will always hurt that it never happened between us. And I always think, what if it would have happened? What if I just would have waited? Like, what would happen? And it's always bad to think what ifs, but I won't say we're friends. We're civil. I don't mind being friends with him, but it does hurt a little bit to talk to him. But I'm happy that he's happy, and that is that. So the 3rd chapter I read was called Word Vomit, and this one was hard to read, like really hard, because he was talking about how he was bulimic and purging. And I've never what are the words? I've never experienced this because I have a very high metabolism and I'm very blessed to be skinny. And not everyone grows up that way. And I understand it's hard. I've had problems with my body before because of when I started to gain a little weight here and there. I started to think I wasn't pretty anymore, which is weird because you're like, I'm thinking to myself now, I can't believe I just have a little tummy and that's a problem. Like in my mind, I'm like, I gotta stop eating. Which is sad, but that's how our society is. All females and males are want to live to this expectation of being perfect, and the magazines, and even those people work just as hard. And I think social media has shed a light on that a lot, because a lot of the people I watch on that I follow on social media shows all the hard work that they go through, and shows that they're working out and eating healthy. And it's hard to accept that. You're like, I don't want to do that. They're not doing that. No way. Another thing, the main reason why it was hard to read about other than that was because he knew we had a problem, but the next day it was like it went away. And I think that could go for a lot of things. When you tell yourself in the mirror, I'm going to stop this. When I was in high school, there were a lot of situations where I would hurt myself, not cutting. I would do the rubber band tactic. I would do just rubbing my wrist, like giving myself an Indian burn. And to me, that's how I felt better. And I knew it was bad and I knew I should talk to someone, but I never got the guts to do it because I was scared of what people would think. This girl, definitely in high school, this girl who was super preppy and super happy and super uplifting all the time, I won't say never complained, never seemed like she had any home problems or any mental problems, all of a sudden is the one who's hurting herself and wants to kill herself. And that's hard for people to accept. It's hard for people to, even nowadays, when I tell people that I was depressed and I wanted to kill myself, 70% of high school, I wanted to kill myself. People are like, wait, really? Because I don't seem like that type of person. Which I understand that. I am not the typical emo, depressing person. I'm just look like a normal mixed girl who looks at, probably people think I was a cheerleader in high school and that I dated the football players and that I wasn't a nerd. Little do they know. But in my opinion, it's hard to tell when you have a problem. It's not hard to tell. It's hard to get rid of that problem. Because once you admit you have a problem, the real struggle is telling people you need help and telling everyone what's going on in your life. And I think people eventually get to the point where they break. But sometimes people don't get to that point. They just keep doing it to the point of dying. And then that's when they break, obviously. And it's sad, but it's true. The fact that people say they don't have a problem, or they say they have a problem, they're like, this is the last time, but then they keep doing it because they forget, because they want that high, because they want that thing in the back of their mind to be satisfied. It's hard to get rid of that, and it's always a struggle, always. And I resonate with Shane here when he says that every day he struggles to not do it. Every day he struggles. And I don't struggle every day. There are some days where I feel more depressed than others. And in my opinion, I wouldn't really call it depression. I would more call it I don't know, just a really deep sadness. Just not to the point where I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. It's more to the point of I just need someone to talk to, but I don't know what I want to say. You know? I just want company, but I don't know what kind of company. I just want someone there with me to just be in the same room. I'm very bad at being alone because I'm scared of my own thoughts. So, yeah. So my question to you guys is, what should you do when you know you have a problem and you want to get rid of it? What should you do? Because you could say going to someone and telling them, but that's just as hard as admitting you have a problem, is trying to tell it to someone else. So I want to hear you guys' ideas of what are the steps to getting rid of your problem, basically. So, I didn't watch any new movies. Oh wait, I did watch I didn't really watch it, never mind. I was gonna say, I watched a comedy special. I watched Dave Chappelle's comedy special, but I didn't really watch it. Ooh, excuse me. What did I watch Friday? I didn't really watch anything either Friday. I just went to bed. So I didn't really watch anything. I did watch the last episode of The Act, but I'm going to talk about that for my Friday, so I'm not going to talk about it here. So we're going to get into the things I thought that were wow this week. So Monday, Lilly Singh, Superwoman, got her own late night show, and I didn't watch it, of course, but I think it's a good step for YouTubers, because this is someone who's been grinding and trying to be funny and trying to get an audience and everything for so long, and she's super funny, and she's maintained that. She's shown that YouTubers can be decent people and be great people and be very successful in everything that they do. So I'm very, very happy that she's getting her own late night show. It's very interesting, and I can't wait to maybe watch an episode one day. Maybe if there's some YouTubers on there, because that's hilarious. That's really what I think. I think that's what's, in my mind, that's going to end up being the best thing for YouTubers, is if she gets her own show and she brings on her YouTube friends, just see the TV network viewings go skyrocket, because all these teenagers and all these people who are obsessed with YouTube are like, oh, I gotta watch it now because they're gonna be on TV, and not on YouTube for once. So it's really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how this one TV show goes on to more TV shows with YouTubers. Next thing I want to talk about. On Tuesday, I read something about Saved by the Bell Reboot. And a lot of networks are doing their own streaming services, which is not fun, because it is putting a dent into people's wallets, mostly millennials. And I think they definitely know that. That's why they're doing a Saved by the Bell Reboot, because we grew up with that, most of us, I think. I watched a lot growing up. But they're doing a reboot that's only going to be on their streaming service, which is going to be called Peacock. And NBC, by the way, let me preface that. NBC is doing Peacock. And basically the premise of this is Zach Morris becomes governor of California, and he decides to shut down all the low-income schools. And so far, I believe, obviously, Zach Morris is part of it, and Mario Lopez, and sorry about that. Mario Lopez and Elizabeth whatever, Soprano, right? Is her name Soprano on the show? I don't remember. They're signed on to do it, and of course I'm gonna want to watch it. So I might end up purchasing Peacock just so I can watch this and then cancel it. I don't know, it sucks because there's so many good shows that are only on these exclusive streaming devices, or streaming devices, or streaming things, and you have to have them in order to watch these shows, and it sucks, and I think that's really gonna hurt, not them obviously, they're just gonna get more fucking money, but it's gonna hurt millennials and people going forward who don't want cable. And, like, I want cable, but I can't have it because I can't afford it. And I think with having all these services, it's gonna suck for the people who don't have cable and only pay for services, because it's just gonna rack up and it's become just as much for every service. Like, it's gonna be just as much as cable by the end of it, with how many people are doing streaming services. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it causes a dent in our pockets, millennials. Yeah. On Wednesday, I saw a thing called Free Britney. And this is definitely a topic I want to get into because it's very interesting. I actually read an article on it. So I go onto Twitter and I see hashtag Free Britney. And I'm like, what? Did Britney Spears go to jail? First thought. Second thought is, what'd she go to jail for? Is she going crazy again? The answer to all of that is none of it's true. So basically, since Britney Spears has had her mental breakdown in 2007 or whatever, her dad has had legal control over her finances and everything that she owns, because she was mentally unstable, and the court saw that, and so they gave it to him, and then also, I believe, her lawyer, or like his lawyer. And recently, her dad has been sick in the hospital, and the lawyer backed out of being this whatever, however you say that name, controversy or whatever, just having legal financial control over Britney Spears' money and everything. And for a while, people have been like, Free Britney, it's been like 10 years. It's been like way more than 10 years. She's obviously able to financially she's mentally stable to control her own finances. So when her dad got sick, she canceled her Las Vegas show, which just got renewed. She canceled some other things, but mostly the Vegas show, which brings in a lot of money. So a lot of people just go to Vegas to go to that show. And her dad got sick, and for a while people have been saying that they need to financially let her be responsible. It's because her and her dad have had so many problems. And obviously she's like, no, me and my dad cool. And a lot of people think that he is telling her to say this. And she says that, or she went to one of the meetings for her financial stuff and everything, and people are like, wait, what? And so that caused more of an uproar when it came to her getting control of everything herself. And another thing I found out that was interesting was the fact that her baby daddy of her children filed a restraining order between the kids and him, which is very interesting to me, because how is it, and apparently it was because the grandfather was using force with the kids and abusing them. And so the thing that's weird to me, out of everything, is the fact that this baby daddy filed a restraining order, but Britney didn't. And Britney is still caring about her dad when her dad is abusing her children. And it's very interesting to me, because I don't care who you are. If you touch my children, I don't even have kids yet. If you touch my children, I'm going to slap you. And I feel like that's any parent's reaction, except for Britney, which is very odd, which makes me think this is more than just him controlling her finances. This is him controlling her life, which is very weird, because she's almost 40 and he's still controlling her, and you about to pass away because you're getting sick. Who knows what will happen now? But those are my thoughts on this situation. Just the fact, this the whole Britney thing. Britney is a very weird case to begin with, but I think this is turning out to be even more weird, in my opinion, because now her kids aren't like directly involved, but they're a part of the story now between Britney and the father. Because now there's an obstacle between the father and her kids, where the kids can never go near their grandpa because of the restraining order, which is really interesting. I cannot wait to see what happens with that. So, Thursday, Shia Labeouf was on Hot Ones, and I did watch it. This one I did watch. The Lilly thing I didn't watch. This thing was so funny. So when I saw this, me and my coworker geeked out because we both love Shia LaBeouf, which is weird. Let me explain. So I love Shia LaBeouf because he's so weird and out there. I find it so interesting that he just does not give a shit about what anyone else thinks. And to me, that's entertaining, because that's how I think all celebrities should be. I love that he will just disappear for a couple of months or a year and then come back randomly. It's so great. So he has 2 new movies coming out, or he has a movie that's already out and a movie that's coming out that will only be available November 8th. So you know what I'm doing November 8th, watching this movie. It's called Honey Boy, and apparently it's autobiographic, kind of based on Shia LaBeouf's life. So it's going to be really interesting. The first movie is called Peanut Butter Falcon. Apparently it's been getting a rave, so I cannot wait to see this movie. It was interesting seeing him on Hot Ones, because he is just a normal dude. He does not try and do the celebrity life. He doesn't care. He just talks normally. And it was very funny watching him eat those hot wings. Very funny. He's like, "Ooh, this is hot." And some of the stories that he was telling was pretty funny. I liked him. I just like how he lives life. He just doesn't care. He has some money, but doesn't care. He has an interesting style. He goes off of shapes. I like that. All for it, Shia. And I just love him. He's a good dude. He really is. And it's crazy to think that people don't like him, because I love him as an actor. And he brought up an interesting point about people calling him a method actor, because he's not a method actor because he doesn't throw himself into a character like, let's say, Jared Leto did with the Joker. His appearance will be the character, but he will still be Shia until he's acting, until he has to go on, which is very interesting to me. And I think that's what method acting should be, is you appear as the character, but you don't go to the length of being that character 100% of the time until your role is done. And I think that's what method acting should be, and not what it is. Because sometimes method acting goes a little too far. So I think it's better, the way that Shia does it is way better overall for method acting. And I think that's where method acting should go, in my opinion. So next and final thing I want to talk about. I didn't watch it. I watched it today. I didn't watch it Friday, but I forgot to look up something for Friday, so I'm going to talk about it today. I'm going to talk about it for my Friday. I finished The Act. And for those of you who don't know what The Act is a Hulu exclusive show about a girl and a mother who, the mother was making the girl think she was sick when she wasn't, and putting all these lies in the girl's head, and the girl figures it out and then starts rebelling. And in this rebelling stage, she had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend has multiple personality disorder, and one of those multiple personalities is a killer. And she tells him, "I want you to kill my mother so I can be free." And then they out themselves by posting it on Facebook. And I think this show is very interestingly done. it's done interestingly because it's based on true events, but obviously things are dramatized, and I really like it. I love the characters. They're so interesting because you see the girl who is terrified of her mother, but still says she loves her, which is very interesting. And then you have the mother who is getting this money from her daughter and making everyone out to be a bad guy. But then she actually does really care about her daughter, and she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. And then we have this boy who doesn't know what he's doing, but he just knows that he loves her. And it's a very interesting ending. I'm gonna spoil it because it's on Hulu. If you want to watch it, go watch it now. It's all on Hulu. She ends up pleading guilty because of all these false things, so she only gets second-degree murder, and she goes to prison for 10 years, and like, she plans on having a family, which, good for her. I just think it's going to be hard for her because people are going to think she's a liar, even though she didn't do anything. She didn't know that she couldn't help because she was fearing for her life by her mother. Her mother fucking beat her. Like, that's crazy. I would be scared of my mom too. She made me do stuff like that and then beat me when I tried to not do it. And then the boy, he has, I think it said like life in prison with no potential parole, which sucks for him because he was just doing it for her, and I think that's a little messed up, but definitely since he has multiple personality disorder, apparently. So, it just sucks because he has to live in life in prison, she gets to get out, but it was all her plan. That's just my opinion on the situation. It was a very good show. I liked it more towards the end when it started becoming more current events. I didn't like it when it would do flashbacks and stuff, but I liked it when it got more to the current events. One thing that I did like about the show was when she first kisses a guy. That was really interesting. The first real act of rebellion where I really didn't think she was going to go with her mom. When she goes to that guy for help, and I'm really sad it didn't show up. I really am. I really wanted him to show up, to be honest. All the actors were good too. They were awesome. And yeah, the show is good. I highly recommend it for anyone who likes crime drama. It's mostly, I will say it's mostly drama than anything. It's mostly drama. It gets more towards crime towards the end of it, like within 4 episodes of it. But that's all I gotta talk about. That. So I got a couple questions in there for you guys. I'll leave them in the comments down below just in case you need them written down or written out. Please leave your answers or anything you want to discuss with me for next episode down in the comments below, either on SoundCloud or on YouTube. Filming this, so it's on video form if you're listening on SoundCloud, and on YouTube you can go listen to this on SoundCloud if you want to listen to it on the go. Second episode, Deliberating Daisha. All my links are down below, and so is my friend Joseffyne, who did my art cover, or my art for my podcast. Go support her. Please subscribe, please like, please share, and if you guys want me to talk about anything, I'm open to it. So I will see you guys next week. Bye!